Detective Emma had just finished her last case and was hoping for a peaceful day at the office when she received a phone call from a worried husband. His wife had disappeared without a trace, and he was desperate for help. Emma listened carefully as the husband explained the situation to her. He said that his wife had gone out for a walk in the garden and had never returned. He had searched the area but couldn't find any clues as to where she might be. Feeling sympathetic, Emma decided to take on the case. She grabbed her coat and headed out to the location of the disappearance. The husband met her at the door of a small cottage, surrounded by an overgrown garden. Emma entered the cottage and immediately noticed that there were no signs of forced entry or struggle. She asked the husband to tell her everything he knew about his wife's disappearance. "She went out for a walk in the garden," he said. "I went to the store to buy some groceries, and when I came back, she was gone. I've searched the entire area, but I can't find any trace of her." Emma began to investigate the garden, searching for any clues that might lead her to the missing wife. As she walked down a path, she noticed a small shed at the end of it. She cautiously opened the door and, to her shock, found the missing wife tied up and gagged. After freeing her, Emma questioned the wife about what had happened. She revealed that she had been abducted by a masked man who had threatened to harm her if she didn't comply with his demands. Emma decided to take a closer look at the husband, as his story didn't add up. She discovered that he had a history of domestic violence and suspected that he may have had something to do with his wife's disappearance. Emma didn't want to jump to conclusions, so she continued to investigate other leads. She questioned neighbors, checked surveillance footage, and even searched nearby parks and woods, but no matter where she looked, she couldn't find any evidence that would lead her to the abductor. Days went by, and there were no new leads in the case. Emma was starting to feel hopeless, but then she received a strange phone call. It was a woman's voice, whispering that she knew the truth about the disappearance of the wife. Emma traced the call and discovered that it was coming from a payphone outside a local bar. She rushed over to the location and found a woman sitting at the bar, nervously sipping on a drink. The woman revealed that she had been the one to abduct the wife. She was a former employee of the husband and had been fired when she refused his advances. She had kidnapped the wife to get back at the husband and make him pay for what he had done to her. Emma arrested the woman and brought her to justice. The husband was arrested as well for his involvement in the domestic violence, and the missing wife was finally safe and sound. But as Emma looked back on the case, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off about the husband's story. She decided to take a closer look at him and his background, and soon discovered that he had a twin brother who had been estranged from the family for years. Emma thought it was worth investigating, so she went to see the twin brother. As soon as she laid eyes on him, she felt a sense of unease. He was standoffish and seemed to be hiding something. Emma decided to dig deeper and discovered that the twin brother had a criminal record for assault and battery. She also found out that he had a motive for wanting to harm his brother's wife. He was jealous of his brother's happy marriage and had always resented him for it. Emma confronted the twin brother with this information, and he denied any involvement in the disappearance of his brother's wife. However, Emma knew that there was more to the story than what he was letting on. She decided to keep an eye on the twin brother and noticed that he started to act suspiciously. He was seen lurking around the garden of the cottage where the wife had disappeared and was caught on camera near the shed where she had been found. Emma's suspicions were confirmed. The twin brother was responsible for the wife's disappearance. But before she could arrest him, he vanished into thin air. Emma knew that she had to find the twin brother before he could cause any more harm. She teamed up with a group of detectives and searched tirelessly for any lead. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Just as they were about to give up hope, a new lead emerged. The twin brother had been spotted in a nearby town, and Emma and her team rushed to investigate. They followed him to an abandoned warehouse, where they found him holed up with a group of criminals. A fierce gunfight ensued, and Emma managed to apprehend the twin brother. As she interrogated him, she discovered that he had been planning the abduction for months. carefully studying the habits and routines of his brother's wife.
He had intended to keep her captive for ransom, but had grown increasingly unstable and had eventually tied her up in the shed.
The twin brother was brought to justice, and Emma finally closed the case. But she couldn't help but feel haunted by the twisted mind of the abductor and the lengths he was willing to go to get revenge. As she drove home from the station, she couldn't shake off the feeling that there were more mysteries waiting for her to uncover, and she knew that she was ready to take them on, no matter how twisted or complex they may be.